What's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew, and today I want to talk to you guys about the pros and cons of investing in Hamilton, my experiences over the last 10 years, and how it can work for you. So let's get into it right now. Now, before we get started, I do want to remind everyone to make sure to join our Property Hustlers Facebook group where we talk all things real estate. If you're a serious investor and you want to know more about getting into investing, scaling your investment, landlording, property management, wholesaling, or even flipping houses, we talk about these things all the time and we want to help you. So make sure to check that out. But now let's talk about the Hamilton real estate market, the pros and the cons, and my experiences. I've been investing in Hamilton for the last 10 years and I started off investing in multi-residential properties. Now, just to preface it a little bit, I am coming from the position of somebody who grew up in Toronto and I was looking at real estate investing but couldn't afford it over there. I did do a little bit of investing over there, but I found it to be better in Hamilton. And if I had to sum up the contrast of what the differences are, I'd say that in Hamilton you can become bigger and badder, whereas if you're investing in Toronto, you may have to be leaner and meaner, and it depends what game you're playing. So let's get into some of the pros of investing in Hamilton. The first one is obviously going to be that the properties are cheaper. So if you're looking at investing over here, the barrier of entry is lower and you can get in a little bit easier. And depending where you are in your real estate investing journey, it may allow you a little more fun so that you can breathe life into these properties and renovate them, add value somehow, do whatever it is you're looking to do, as opposed to being financially restricted because you put all your money in the down payment and have nothing for renovations. The next pro I want to talk about is the fact that the rents are actually relatively comparable to Toronto rents, relative to the price of properties in Toronto. If you have a property in Toronto that's $400,000 or $500,000 more for the same property, that mortgage price is going to be way more than the difference of the rents that you're getting for a property in Hamilton, which is why it's a little bit easier to be cash flow positive in Hamilton. The next thing I want to mention here is that Hamilton is a real city. There's a lot of places around Toronto that claim to be cities, but they really feel like these giant suburbs where there's nothing to do. In Hamilton, you have a downtown core, clubbing district, bus infrastructure, proper roads, McMaster University, student life. There's just various different things going on. You can actually live in Hamilton and not feel like you're living in a town. Now, I know a lot of my friends in Toronto might disagree with this, but they're too busy stuck in traffic to really enjoy the city, so make your trade.
Traffic, no more traffic.
The next pro about Hamilton has to do with McMaster University. Now, if you're familiar with McMaster, you will know that it is a growing university and they specialize in health sciences. It's really good for the programs. And one of the benefits that it has from a real estate investor's perspective is that you have student rental and you have the professionals that you can rent to on short contracts. There's a lot of hospitals in Hamilton. If you have an investment property that is near one of those hospitals, you can rent out short-term, long-term, whatever it is you want on contracts to these working professionals who are just there for a gig. And this is just an extra thing that a landlord can take advantage of. The next thing I want to talk about is how there is a lot of untapped potential, right? If you're not from Hamilton and you're looking at something, sometimes you might see something that doesn't look pretty, but if you understand how Hamilton is developing and growing and some of the opportunities that are there, you will see that you can buy something at a real steal. And that's just because people who invest in Hamilton have to get a little good at uncovering things from the dust and finding that gold. So if you have that eye, you can look at the untapped opportunity and really take advantage of it. The next thing is a standard point that you as a real estate investor should consider no matter where you're thinking of investing is that Hamilton has positive population growth. Unlike some other places where they decline because people are moving out and they're investor-driven cities, Hamilton has genuine population growth because people are moving to it. And the last thing I want to talk about is amazing infrastructure. As somebody who comes from Toronto and had to drive to various places, I can tell you Hamilton is amazing for the driving. First of all, they have the highways that actually surround Hamilton just like Toronto does when it comes to the 401, DVP, QEW. But Hamilton also has internal infrastructure with one-way streets. So if you're driving in Toronto, you might be seeing that every light that you hit is going to turn red, whereas in Hamilton, every light turns green. And this actually really made me enjoy working in Hamilton. I could actually get places and I'm not just sitting in my car listening to podcasts. But now Hamilton is sounding pretty good to me because, you know, there's a lot of parks, there's tons of waterfalls, there's a lot of great locations, and overall, there is a lot of beauty to be had here. But what are the cons that we can address? Now, there are certain trade-offs when it comes to the property value, and you do get what you paid for. So what I found in buying multi-residential properties in Hamilton is that a lot of them are older and therefore in a slightly worse condition. So you gotta weigh that into what you're doing. This is why fixer-uppers are very popular in Hamilton and it's pretty easy to find a property to flip. The next con I want to talk about has to do with the population and the demographic. You have to remember that this is a bit of a more affordable city and that population is going to have trade-offs when it comes to management. And just understand that if you're managing more affordable rental properties, the tenant population may have higher management requirements. So something you need to budget, keep in mind, because either you're doing it or your property manager is doing it, and it's just things you have to budget for. The next con about Hamilton is that there are still a lot of pocket rough areas where you might come into the city and look at the downtown and think that it's got to be relatively decent, but in fact, downtown area still has a lot of rough pockets that you have to be careful of. So you're new to Hamilton looking to invest, you just need to make sure to be working with somebody who is familiar. The next con has to do with the property type, because what we're going to see is that a lot of properties in Hamilton are non-conforming. So you find these single family homes that have 2 units, 3 units, sometimes 5 units, and they're just not really meant to be built that way, and then you need to now correct the zoning. But again, it offers opportunities so that if you want to, you can invest money into it and correct it. And the last couple of cons I found in Hamilton has to do with development and permits. The permits are generally slow, development is a little bit slow, even some of the decisions that come with the politics. For example, Hamilton was looking to install an LRT, they changed their mind and now they're doing it again. The development of the Bayfront is also taking its time, but I think that's common in a lot of cities, but I do find Hamilton is particularly so when it comes to making these decisions. If you're investing in something because you're waiting for something else to happen, you just need to wait patiently. Now, we've been investing in tons of different cities, and there's been a lot of pros and cons that I want to share with you through our experiences, but I can't do that in this short YouTube video. So if you want to know more about them, we are hosting our free monthly networking events that I really want you to come to, because there we can talk about specific things, your problems, your obstacles, and we can talk about how to get you going or scaling on your real estate investment journey. Hamilton is a great place to invest. I really had a lot of success here, and I do feel that the pros outweigh the cons. If you're considering Hamilton, there are some things that you need to look out for, but if you can actually manage the situation properly and appropriately, I think you'll have a lot of success just like I did. So you can weigh it in yourself, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.